Hello and welcome to the Foodie Comes to America presented by Sujata Gold Atta 100% Sarbati whole wheat atta for deliciously soft rotis. My journey now takes me to a restaurant which has not only pushed the boundaries but crossed it altogether. Junoon. Junoon is one of the most popular and classy restaurants of New York and is located in the heart of the city. Now we are at the famous Patiala Lounge that presents variety of contemporary cocktails using many herbs and spices usually found in the Indian cuisine.
It's a beautiful, beautiful restaurant.
Thank you.
You know, the moment I entered in your restaurant, there is a sense about everything. There is a very positive energy here, and I think it's one of those restaurants which are not at all cluttered. There is a lot of space. You can look through, you can breathe in this restaurant. And I think that's a very, very welcoming sign for an Indian restaurant to have a very contemporary feel with fine touches of ethnicity.
Surprising you said that in the term you used, that you're surprised to see it in an Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
So when I set to open Junoon, so I had a mission statement. I said I want to open a restaurant which serves Indian food, not an Indian restaurant.
So, Rajesh, you've been a hotelier, you've been a restaurateur for more than 3 decades now. And, you started with a very humble restaurant in US with a quality restaurant, and then you moved on, picked up the Indian mithai section, and, you made a sensation here in US with quality sweets, and then you opened your success story. The first success story was Cafe Spice, which has been multiplied into 16 outlets, I think.
It was at one point.
At one point, but right now I think any big departmental store, wherever you go, the Cafe Spice is present there. The presence is there.
Yes.
So, is there some kind of passion or junoon behind all of this that you're still going on? And from what I'm understanding, that you're now expanding, you're getting junoon into a new territory, into a new country. You are coming up with another beautiful restaurant called American Gymkhana. And it's like so much of work. So where does all the energy come from? Is it junoon? Is it pagalpana? Is it santi? What is it?
You're right, it is pagalpana, and that's why the name suggests junoon. So to answer your question, I'll do a question. I don't think you'll ever give up cooking, right? So
I don't think so, but I somehow feel maybe there will be a point. I always look forward and say there will be a point when I'll do it.
I thought when I was your age, I thought, okay, I'm going to give up. And as per the definition of retirement, me and my wife she said, you should have been retired by now, and we had plans to do things.
Okay.
But it's just an addiction, something, which I cannot do without. I have been, I thrive on new ideas and projects, and I'm you can say partly a dreamer, but I just don't dream, I execute too. So you are absolutely right, it is more to do with your own passion, and my single passion.
For me, it will be very interesting to know, how did Junoon happen? Were you always thinking of having a restaurant like this? Because Junoon has been a really big success story, and it puts not Indian restaurant on the map, but I think it puts New York on the map once again. What do you think has been, if it is, the single point success mantra for Junoon?
I would say really staying very true to your roots, being very honest about what we want to do here. As much as people sometimes misconstrue that we are, just because we do things which have never been done, that we are fusion, and terms have been used like that. And I would set it on the record and tell people that we are absolutely, I'm traditionalist at heart.
Okay.
And after that, when we walk through, you'll see what we do in our kitchen, in our spice room, things what we do to really bring out absolute true Indian flavors and very true Indian food. But having said that, yes, we do fusion, but I always use a term saying we do fusion of technique, not of flavors.
Okay. So what I've understood is that the Junoon menu or the Junoon food is classic to the core, but the chefs are not restricted to the older ways or techniques of cooking it. So it's not about cooking your meat probably in a kadhai or a patila or a lagan anymore, but it's about understanding the application of heat. Let's say if it's a duck breast, then you need to sear it on a certain temperature and cook it and then add in the curry and get in the flavors there. Or if it's meat, maybe you do a sous vide. If there is frying, so you would probably do fry it the way it is, but you would be very mindful of the temperature used, probably a deep fryer, wherein the temperature should not go probably above 180. Wherein a kadhai, you cannot control. Once it's hot, somebody puts in it's black, somebody puts in it's underdone, and you keep checking with andazas. So I think that's a very welcoming change, wherein you are somewhere standardizing the way the Indian food is made. It's very inventive in a way, and it just doesn't interfere from the classic taste of food, how it is.
So if you see, I may have the smallest Indian menu in the sense. If you see, and when you see a Junoon menu, you'll open the menu and we have, we'll say, fish and shellfish. 3 items there, right? We do meat and game, poultry and game.
Right.
3, 1 duck, 2 chicken. You see meats, 3 items. So there are only 3 items, that's it. But our focus is do few, but do them good.
So moving on from the food menu to the drinks menu, would you suggest some nice drink for me?
Well, we have, like I said, we have all the elements. We try to give a complete experience. So we want someone who is a, connoisseur of scotches would land up here and find different scotches. If someone really wants a good cocktail, so we have actually in-house mixologist, just not a bartender. He's a mixologist and happens to be from India. He was one of India's leading mixologists who I brought in here.
All right.
And won many international accolades. Okay. So we have, and we again change our cocktail menu also seasonally, because things which are not available during spring, we'll never make a cocktail out of that. Winter cocktail changes, summer cocktail change. So, I will ask him and he'll make a nice cocktail for you and you try and see what it is.
As restaurateur Rajesh Bharadwaj just told me that he has bought a specialist mixologist from India, and mixologist is another term for bartender or bar chef. A mixologist focuses on the art and craft of mixing cocktails, studying the classics, concocting new and exotic drinks, experimenting with lesser known distilled spirits and mixers, and overall pushing the limits of classic bartending. Nowadays, in all the top restaurants, we find mixologists creating and serving those fabulous inventive drinks with professional skills and style.
Wow. So what have you served me?
I just made one of the house specialty for you, and I call it masala margarita. Masala stand for spices. It's not spicy like chili, but you can find different spices in it, like cinnamon, cardamom, clove, star anise.
Okay.
This is a twist in a Mexican drinks, like the margarita, but I incorporate Indian spices in that drinks.
Okay. So let me just taste this. What I really enjoyed about this drink is that it does not have those sweetened juices or effervescence or a lot of soda. So it's a light, refreshing masala drink, and I can have another drink. In fact, with the spices as well, I can feel that there is a bit of freshness into them, as if they're freshly ground. Is it possible to have a look at the spice?
Sure, why not? We go and
Let's
we'll
go.
take a walk.
That's a beautiful painting.
Yeah, this is our total design element, is based on a lot of thought by a designer on Indian mythology and what belief. So this is actually a tree of life painting. It's called a drip painting.
Decorated with Burmese teak wood tables has given this place a native ambience. The main dining room is delicately lit with gold sail lighting from designer Ingo Motte that creates a very relaxing mood and a comfortable atmosphere. We are now heading towards Junoon's kitchen, where a variety of inventive delicacies are being made by the best chefs in the business. best and most popular dishes in the Junoon restaurant are tandoori lobster mushroom, scallop chaat, rainbow charred paneer, and lamb pasanda. Welcome back, and now we are heading towards the heart of this restaurant, Junoon's unique spice room.
That's the spice room.
Yeah, this is a room where we grind all our spices and do our blends.
This is Junoon's one-of-a-kind spice room, where an array of fresh spices are grinded daily and made into a unique blend to be used in marinades and sauces for the day. And it surely gives a great satisfaction to the customers when the aroma of freshly ground spices from the dishes hits their senses.
So I've got Chef Steven here. He pretty much runs the entire structure here of the kitchen, what we do, and spices being an important part.
Right.
So he loves Indian spices and plays around a lot in this room. So I let him do the talking and explain what we do here.
So, as you know, Indian spices are the cuisine, is the whole backbone of the cuisine.
Right.
I mean, it's really what holds it all together. So I spend a great deal of time sourcing just the spices.
You know, the way you grind the spices every day in the morning and then use it for all the dishes that you prepare is actually a very home style way of cooking Indian food. So all the elderly ladies in an typical Indian kitchen would get up early in the morning. The first thing that they would do is grind all the spices.
Yep.
And then the cooking would follow for the day. So it was like an everyday routine which would get passed on from the mother-in-law to the daughter-in-law to the daughter-in-law to the daughter, and it would go on and on and on. And you know, interestingly, that's how the spice mix of, let's say, my house would go on to the other house, and from there a new blend into the other house wherever the girl would get married.
Yep.
So you know, it's kind of interesting to see, you know, India and the culture still alive. The very same way, probably a little tweak here and there, and right here in New York.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I had to say the glorification of Indian food, it's actually not happened. We've actually maintained the sanctity of the food at Junoon.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us. Is that we're doing it here. You know, we're creating our own spices we're creating our own blends as it has always been done before, but it seemed to kind of get lost a little bit throughout the years, which is too bad.
Well, this is, I think, by far the most interesting thing that I found out in my trip to New York, discovering Indian restaurants and Indian food. This is, I think, the USP of this restaurant.
Well, yeah, it's the heart of it for us.
We are now heading towards Junoon's kitchen, where a variety of inventive delicacies are being made by the best chefs in the business. Best and most popular dishes in the Junoon restaurant are tandoori lobster mushroom, scallop chaat, rainbow charred paneer, and lamb pasanda.
Fantastic. So, thank you so much, Chef.
Of course.
This was wonderful. Now it's my time to just taste it back inside the restaurant. So this is the new avatar of the Pasanda, but this again is part of the degustation menu.
Pasanda is actually a cut of the meat, which is from the boneless part and thin slices. अगर किसी को पसंदा पसंद आ जाए तो वो वाकई में एक अच्छा पसंदा है, और मुझे यहाँ पर बहुत मजा आ रहा है।
Thank you. So this is the scallop chaat, and it's a pretty simple dish wherein the scallops are almost raw, but that's the best way, one of the best way to enjoy a scallop. There's a cilantro chutney. There is pickled avocados. We've got pickled jalapenos. So I'm just going to put all of these elements on top of the scallop and take that bite. Toasted almonds, which are also there in the pesto.
Wow, this is delicious. But this is unlike the desi chaat that we get back there in India on thelas. In comparison, it's light and mellow in taste. Freshly minced herb and spices have surely enhanced its flavor.
What I taste is some really fresh scallop paired with some beautifully pickled avocado. And avocado is actually very buttery, so this thing doesn't really need any olive oil or a butter or a desi ghee. But actually, very smartly, avocado does the trick. And these finger limes, they just give that right burst in the mouth. I have a feeling of eating a chaat, but definitely this is like way to upscale a chaat. Something which has been rightly done at Junoon, and I think this is something very, very unique. The flavors are very clean, and about the starter, I think it's something very light. Usually chaat back in India is very heavy. A chaat is always had with mint chutney and sawn chutney and dahi. I think this is a good breather wherein the flavors are very, very clean. Definitely, it's a beautiful glorification of inventive Indian food. I think now I'm going to go with the lamb pasanda, which is in a new avatar. Wow, thank you. All right, once again, this is the lamb pasanda. This is the pasanda sauce. We've got some pear puree. We've got some sauteed pears. We've got pear chips. We've got some toasted nuts. We've got some green. So this is the new avatar of the pasanda, but this again is part of the degustation menu. The mainstay of the menu at Junoon is still very hearty, classic Indian.
Pasanda is actually a cut of the meat, which is from the boneless part and thin slices. अगर किसी को पसंदा पसंद आ जाए तो वो वाकई में एक अच्छा पसंदा है और मुझे यहाँ पर बहुत मजा आ रहा है.
It doesn't look like, but this is 100% pure Indian lamb, cooked the Indian way with all the Indian spices.
Before cooking, the lamb is cut and flattened out, and then marinated with a mix of yogurt, chili powder, ground almonds, ginger and garlic. It is mildly flavored with cardamom, cinnamon and spices, and it's not really very hot. And this one is like an Indian kebab, soft and fluffy, but not all that spicy. I can't leave this. This is so delicious.
The lamb has got some really nice strong lamb flavor. It's nicely cooked. It's been slow cooked. The korma sauce is nice and creamy, and the pears, which are mildly sweet, just adds a very good dimension to the entire dish. This is truly a very, very progressive, very, very inventive way of doing the Indian food. I think I've had a great time enjoying this.
That's it, guys. With this episode of Foodie, visiting Junoon restaurant in New York was truly a wonderful experience. See you next week in different location with lots and lots of scrumptious dishes. Till then, goodbye, take care.
I'm at a place that needs no introduction. This is the site for the World Trade Center where the beautiful and iconic Freedom Tower now stands. And just 3 blocks down the line is a beautiful Indian restaurant called Banaras.
Right now, I'm in the kitchen of Banaras restaurant where MasterChef Peter Beck has already started making some fabulous dishes. Wow, I just love the crunchy, crispy texture of these Karwari jhingas. And we are going to visit yet another restaurant, Castle. Sujata Goldwater presents The Foodie Comes to America in association with Lakshmi, Haldiram, Lijjat Papad, Paradise Biryani and travel partner 7M Tours.